Hi again. So on Sunday, yesterday, we talked about how it is that God uses gifts in the church, leaders that He's given the church to prepare the church, the average Joe sitting in the pew, to do the work of the ministry. Now, this week, in this next section of Ephesians, what Paul does is he comes back around and he says, if you are doing ministry, here is the way you need to live. So he begins that in verse 17. With the Lord's authority, I say this, live no longer as the Gentiles do, for they are hopelessly confused. Their minds are full of darkness. They wander far from the life God gives. Because they've closed their minds and hardened their hearts against Him, they have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. Paul starts by saying, don't live like the Gentiles. Now again, just to review, the word that he actually uses here is walk. He's not talking about live as a passive, static activity. Instead, he's talking about walking. He's talking about movement. He's talking about what we do on a daily basis. He uses this word walk in 4:1 translation, lead a life worthy, literally walk worthily. Here in 4:17, don't live like the Gentiles. He comes back and he picks it up in 5:2, live a life filled with love. 5:15, be careful how you live. All of these verbs is actually the verb walk. What Paul is talking about is activity in our daily life. The first thing he says is we are to be different. Don't live like the people around you. You're called to be something different. You're called to do something different. He goes on, verse 20. But that isn't what you learned about Christ, since you have heard about Jesus and have learned the truth that comes from Him. Throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Instead, let the Spirit renew your thoughts and your attitudes and put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy. You'll notice here that Paul has a definite movement. Put off this, renew that, start doing the other. Put off, renew, put on. This is exactly the movement that we see in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, when Paul says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world. Don't conform to this world. Instead, let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Don't conform. Be renewed in your mind and be transformed. Do you see that movement? In both of these passages, Paul repeats it in more than just these two passages. It's a definite movement in Paul's mind. Stop doing this. Change your attitude through Scripture and start doing that. Tomorrow we'll take a look at several different things, several different character qualities that Paul begins to talk about by way of example of what the Ephesians need to stop doing, be renewed, and start doing. See you tomorrow.